Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next game in the 1987 American League replay. Trying to get this thing in here fixed right. Always have to adjust it when I switch from one game to the other. Inside pitch has a little bit different setup the way I like it. I can get further away from the cards because they show up better. But Strat-O-Matic, you kind of have to be a little bit closer to read the cards, halfway decently. So try not to get you all dizzy while I try to get everything up here as best I can. I think that's the best. Well, looks like it's tilted, and I don't know why. Let's see if we can get it done this way. Might be the best I'm going to be able to do right there. I think that's the best I can do right here. It's got that slight tilt to it, and I can't get the tilt out of it. Hello, midlife. So let's see if I can get it to be, maybe that's better. I don't know, but it cuts off some of the stuff here. So let me see if I can go this way. Not lose the ring light. Boy, this is a work in progress. Every time I switch from one game to another, it's a work in progress for sure. All right, I'm just going to leave it at that. And when we get to the later innings, I'll just move the cards over here. That's all. All right, so anyway, welcome. We are at game number 201 on the replay. Third game in the May 10th block on this Sunday, May 10th, 1987. Final games of all these series. It'll be the Cleveland Indians and the Kansas City Royals. Greg Swindell for the Tribe against Danny Jackson for the Royals. Royals enter even up 13-13. Cleveland enters 13-16. Look at the previous two games of the series, and it was the Tribe winning the first game 4-1. Two-run homer from Franco gave them the lead in the fifth. They never relinquished it. They actually piled on two more in the eighth to make a winner of Ken Schramm, who was the loser. But Kansas City comes back in the previous game on Saturday night. Brett Saberhagen, a complete game victory, gives up 3 runs in the first inning to Cleveland, but then settles down the rest of the way and finishes what he started to improve to 2-3. Candiotti takes the loss, so it's 11-3 victory for Kansas City. Rich Yett pitched 2 2/3 innings in this game, so he is unavailable for this ball game. I will use him in case of emergency. If I use up every other Cleveland pitcher and I have no one left, I will use Rich Yett, but otherwise he will have to sit because he went 2 2. Just trying to be realistic. Don't want to overrun guys. So he went 2 2/3, so I think it's only fair he needs to rest. Got our dice ready to go. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. Got the Strat computer up. Hopefully everything looks okay on you guys' end. Enough lighting and so forth. I can always brighten it if I have to. Don't know if that will help any or not. Maybe it's too bright. I don't know. We'll keep going as we go, I guess. Make adjustments as we go. There's Greg Swindell. He will finish up the warm-up tosses. Juan Beniquez will be the leadoff hitter for Kansas City. You can see the lineups right there for yourself. Pretty standard in most cases for the and actually I have a misprint here. I got 2 guys playing first base. I think in the actual lineup, let me double check. I think Balboni is supposed to be the DH, so I might need to fix that. Yep, Balboni is the DH, so don't know why I have him listed as a first baseman with his defensive ratings. He shouldn't be. He's a DH in this game. So we'll get that fixed up before I even start. My whiteout, not the best. Or my correction tape, I should say, not the best. So Balboni is actually your DH in this game. And I'm right at the crack of the table, so kind of writing on the crack at the same time. So it's not too good. But anyway, Balboni is your DH. Leave it at that. Penmanship was never my strong point. All right. We're ready to go. Get the full numbers on Greg Swindell. He was 3-2 on the replay. A 3.06 earned run average. He had a 5.10 earned run average real world, so he's definitely doing better. 47 innings pitched, 36 hits, 18 walks, and 38 strikeouts. Royals will try to do something against Swindell. We got Juan Beniquez, the left fielder, to lead it off. And Beniquez on the replay is hitting .256, 2 homers, 14 driven in. He hit .251 real world. And we're underway from Cleveland. 2-12 against the left-hander is a leadoff walk to Beniquez. So Juan Beniquez draws the leadoff walk. He will not be held, will not go anywhere. And here's shortstop Angel Salazar. Kind of unusual to see him batting second. Usually he's more like the 8th, 9th place hitter. But they got him batting second. 24 on the replay, a homer and 6 driven in. He had 205 real world, so he's definitely above his skis in the first part of the season. That's a 5-8, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Swindell. Salazar is retired, and that'll bring up Kevin Seitzer playing first base. George Brett is still out with an injury, so Seitzer will play first base in this one. Seitzer on the replay hitting .253, 3 homers, 13 driven in, so he's off his mark because he had 323 real world, so he needs to pick it up and get going for the Royals. 6-10, and that's a ballpark blast. Even 1-11 for right-handers is a home run. That's a 1. The double die is a 1. Kevin Seitzer has normal power, so that is gone. 6-10, ballpark blast, normal power, 11, and that's a 1. So Kevin Seitzer hits home run. Talk about picking it up. He hits home run number 4, RBI 14 and 15. And Kansas City jumps out to a 2-0 lead here in the first as they jump on Swindell early and try to take this rubber game of the series. Here's Danny Tartable, right fielder, hitting .272, 8 homers, 17 driven in. He hit .309 real world. It's a 111 against the lefty, and that's a single for Danny Tartable. So Swindell having some first inning issues. Tartable will not be held. Here is Frank White, second baseman. White on the replay is hitting .235, 3 homers, 9 driven in. He had .245 real world. 6-8, and that is a 1-6 single. That's a 20, so it will be a line out to short. And that is snagged by Corey Snyder over at short. And I noticed I forgot to put the E rating in for Snyder. He is an E48. Forgot to write that in there. All right. Wasn't an X chance, but I just noticed I forgot to write it in there. So now we're straight. They're DHing Franco and putting Snyder at short in this game. Here's Bo Nose. Gave him the thumbnail honors today. See if that helps his cause. He's hitting .258, 1 homer, 9 driven in. He hit .235 real world, but he's behind his pace on home runs. He only hit 1 so far, and he hit 22 real world. So he needs to try to get some home runs if he can. That's a 5-8, but that will be a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Swindell. The 2-run home run off the bat of Kevin Seitzer has given the Royals a 2-0 lead here in the top of the first, and they will hand that lead over to Danny Jackson. So we go from one Jackson and Bo to Danny Jackson, no relation, obviously. And he will step to the mound with a 2-0 lead before he throws the first pitch. On the replay, he is 2-1 with a 4.02 earned run average, 40 innings pitched, 35 hits, 24 walks, and 37 strikeouts. And guess what? In real world, his ERA at the end of the season was 4.02. So he's right on the money. But he was 9-18 real world. He's 2-1 right now. So obviously a long way to go. He's only pitched 40 innings, and in real world, he pitched 224. So kind of silly to compare numbers, I guess. Brett Butler leading the league in hitting, but he doesn't have enough at-bats to qualify. He's only got 40 at-bats, but he is hitting .450 on the replay. 2-6 against the left-hander. He will fly to center, and that's 1 away as Bo Jackson puts it away. Jackson's in center with Willie Wilson being out. So Royals trying to fight off a couple of injuries and stay relevant. Here's Julio Franco, designated hitter. He's hitting .311, 2 homers, 15 driven in. 5-5, and that is a fly to center again. So Bo Jackson makes both catches. Very easy can to corn. 2 up, 2 down. And it brings up the struggling Joe Carter. And Joe Carter on the replay is only hitting a .171, 3 homers, 5 driven in. He hit .264 real world. 2-8, and that is a 1-3 triple. Anything else he singles, that's a 4. So it's a 2 Carter. And let's see if Carter can get the lead. Jackson is a -2 on the hold. So that would be a -4 total. Be a 1 to 15 if he got the lead. So they're going to try it. Needs a 2 through 5 to obtain the lead, and he does not get the lead. So Carter will hold. And here comes Pat Tabler, one of the top hitters in the league. Not the type of top, but certainly in the top 4 or 5. He's hitting 374 on the replay, 4 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 307 real world. And Carter's at first with 2 outs. 6-10 to the righty. 1 to 14 is a triple. 15 to 20 is a double. That's a 13. It'll be a triple for Pat Tabler. He did hit 3 triples real world, so we will certainly allow the triple. Not convert it to a double. That's an RBI triple for Pat Tabler. And that's his first triple of the replay. He had 3 real world. So a triple, RBI triple from Tabler. And now with 2 outs and Tabler at third, it's Carmen Castillo, the right fielder. He's hitting 241, 2 homers, 4 driven in, hit 250 real world. It is a clutch situation. He loses a hit on a 210 in the clutch. Everything else he's neutral. 6-10, and same thing we just had. 1 to 14 is a triple, 15 to 20 is a double. That's a double for Carmen Castillo. And the Tribe has just tied this ball game at 2. 2-out rally by the Tribe. And that brings up Brooke Jacoby. He's also near the league leading in hitting with 365 average, 4 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 300 even real world. Again, that's a 1. Chance for a wild pitch on Jackson. His wild pitch rating is a 4. And it is a 4, so he will wild pitch Castillo to third base. So Jackson getting a little unnerved by this triple and double. Will face Jacoby in the clutch. Jacoby loses a hit right here on 2-5 and on 110, so he's definitely a little bit anti-clutch. That's a 4-8, and that's a strikeout to end the inning. First strikeout for Danny Jackson. But both teams put up a pair in the first inning. At the end of 1, we are tied at 2 apiece. Balls are getting knocked around Cleveland State Municipal Stadium with frequency. And now the designated hitter, Steve Bye-Bye Balboni. First baseman, he's struggling, hitting a .163, 5 homers, 8 driven in. He had 207 real world. Let's see what Bye-Bye can do. That's a 1-7 against the lefty. He will strike out. That's strikeout number 3. Right here in this line is where the crack of the table is, so I got to watch how I write that. I don't want to move my score sheet. I've already got it taped down so it doesn't flip all over the place, so I'm going to keep it stationary. Here's Bill Pacoda, third baseman, limited duty for Pacoda. Just 11 at bats. He's hitting 273, no homers and 1 driven in. He had 276 real world. 3-12, and that's a 1-out walk. Second walk issued by Swindell. Pacoda has a 4, so they do have to hold him because he does have that asterisk there. If they don't hold him, he's an almost automatic steal, so they got to hold him. He needs a 4 to get the lead. Why not go ahead and try it? Does not get the lead. All right, here's Larry Owen, the catcher. Owen hitting a .143, no homers and run driven in, just 21 at bats. He had 189 real world. That's a 5-4 to the right-hander. Ground ball third base X. We're looking at Jacoby. It's a 4E25, first X check of the game, and it's a 4E25. 4 and a 13 should get to that. Might be a G2. 4 and a 13 is actually a G3, so the runners are going to advance. So in this case, Pacoda will make it to second base. Question is, will there be error? Jacoby's an E25. Has to avoid 6, 8, 13, 15, and 17 on that E25 roll. As I drop one of the D6s right when I was getting ready to roll it. So let's check that error. That's an 11. He's an E25, third baseman. There is no 11, so it is not going to be an error, but it will be a ground out with the runner advancing. 5-3. So with 2 outs now, Pacoda is in scoring position where a base hit could put the Royals in the lead. It's going to be up to Beniquez. He walked and scored his first trip. Nothing on the Havoc. That's a 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Swindell that's going to end the inning. That is strikeout number 4 for Swindell. Keeps the score at 2 apiece as we go to the bottom of the second. Next Strat game, game number 202, will be in Chicago. The White Sox against the Orioles to finish up that series. That'll be the next game in the Strat-O-Matic replay. Once we get past May 10th on that Sunday, we'll go to Monday, May 11th, and there'll be all new matchups. So we're finishing up the 3-game series in this May 10th block. Here's Corey Snyder, shortstop. He's hitting .235, 4 homers, 13 driven in on the replay. He hit .236 real world. 2-4, left-handed, ballpark single, 1-11. That's a 5, base hit for Corey Snyder. Courtesy of Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Snyder's not going to be held, and that'll bring up Tony Bernazard, second baseman. Bernazard on the replay, .262 average, 4 homers, 15 driven in. He hit .250 real world. Switch hitter now batting right-handed, 4-8, and that is a strikeout for Danny Jackson, his second. So 1 away, and that's going to bring up the number 9 hitter, Rick Dempsey, longtime Oriole catcher. He is hitting .196 on the replay, a homer and 10 driven in. He only hit .177 in real world, so he's pretty much in the same ballpark. 3-9, and he's going to hit ground ball shortstop A. It'll be a 6-4-3 tailor-made double play to end the inning. So at the end of 2, we are tied at 2 here in Cleveland. Swindell back out will face Salazar, Seitzer, and Tartable. Salazar, Seitzer, and Tartable due up for the Royals. Salazar struck out his first chance. 3-6, and he's going to strike out again. That is strikeout number 5 for Swindell. Here's Seitzer. He homered his first time up. 2-run homer, his 4th of the season. That's a 5-8, and that's another strikeout. Strikeout number 6 for Swindell. Here's Tartable. He got a base hit his first time up. 2-9, and he'll get a base hit again. 2-out single for Danny Tartable. He will not be held, and that'll bring up Frank White. White line to Snyder at short his first time up. Hello, Kenyon. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday afternoon. A sweltering Tuesday afternoon here. Don't know how it is in where you guys are, but it's definitely sweltering here. Heat advisories, heat warnings, actually, not advisories, straight out warnings all over the place. 112 is another strikeout. Strikeout number 7. Swindell has struck out 7 Royals in 3 innings of pitching. He's got the strikeout ball going. We're still tied at 2 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. And it'll be the top of the order for the Tribe. It'll be Butler, Franco, and Carter. Due up for 8 left-handed is a strikeout. So the strikeouts are just rolling here. 3 strikeouts now for Danny Jackson. Hello, Bart. Good to see you. Hello, Ernest. Welcome to Strikeout Fest, because we got a combined 10 strikeouts already, and we're just in the bottom of the 3rd. Here's Franco. 3-2, and that's a fly to center field. Both pitchers are left-handed, so we're in the blue the whole time on the batter cards. And mostly in the red on the pitcher cards, because mostly are right-handed batters. All right, here's Joe Carter. 6-3, and that's a fly ball left field X. We are looking at the left fielder Beniquez. He's a 2E6, so pretty good fielder. 2-11, he'll get to it. E6, and that's a 12. And there is no 12. E6, and there's no 12. 2 and an 11, just out of curiosity, is an F2, but doesn't matter because no one's on base. Going to end the inning. So at the end of 3, we're still at 2-2. All the runs coming in the first inning. Pitchers have settled down since. Hello, Pete. Good to see you. Pitchers have settled in since. So Swindell back out, and he will be facing Bo Knows. Bo struck out his first time up. He knows how to strike out. 6-11, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-11, but that's a 15, so he's going to line it to short. And that is out number 1 as Corey Snyder snags it. 1 away for Bye-Bye Balboni, the designated hitter. I originally had him written as a first baseman by mistake with his rating, so I had to white all that out, and he is actually the DH in this game. 1-6, and he's going to strike out just like he did in his first at bat. He strikes out, and that is strikeout number 8 for Swindell. And that'll send us to Bill Pacoda. Bill Pacoda. The most disappointing record-wise. That's an interesting one. I can understand Detroit being a little bit lesser than they were because they've got injuries and stuff to deal with. I think Seattle, although they have won 2 in a row, actually they swept Milwaukee, I do believe. But up until that series, Seattle, I know they weren't a good team, but they were really underperforming. So don't know I know Oakland is way above what they were supposed to be doing. So, but still a long way to go. And Boston's a little bit lower. I know they weren't going to be that great, but they really were struggling as well. 4-11, and that is a ground ball first base X. We are looking at Tabler. He's a 4E26. 4-16, he'll get to it. E26 is the question. He's got to flip it to Swindell covering. And that is a 14. E26 and a 14 for a first baseman. E26, there's a 14 sitting right there. So he boots it. He wasn't able to flip it to Swindell because he bobbled it and never got a hold of it. So the E26 for Tabler, really a liability there. E3, maybe he's more of a DH, but they wanted to let Franco DH this game, so they had to put somebody in the field. And that somebody was Pat Tabler, and he just booted it. So it keeps the inning going. Dakota, again, can get a lead on a 4. So why not go for it? He does not get it. So that'll bring up Larry Owen. 6-5, and that is another strikeout for Swindell. 9 strikeouts through 4 innings for Greg Swindell. He just has that strikeout pitch going for him today. Even when he gave it 2 runs in the first, he struck out 2. So got the strikeout pitch working for him. All right, so Pat Tabler now. Chance to make up for that error, although the error didn't cost him anything. Tabler had a RBI triple his first time up. 4-6 against a right-hander is a base on balls. Leadoff walk. Leadoff walks are not usually promising, and that's the first walk issued by Danny Jackson. Tabler, no threat to run, will not be held. Here is Castillo, right fielder. He hit a RBI double his first time up. 6-5, and that's a ground ball second base C. That'll advance the runner Tabler up to second base. Kind of a pseudo sacrifice. 1 out, and the go-ahead runs in scoring position for Brooke Jacoby, who did strike out his first time. That's a 2, chance for a pass ball or a balk. We're looking at balk ratings on Jackson, which is a 0, so no balk. Go to Jacoby. 5-7, and that's a 1-2 single. Anything else, he lines to short. We'll line it to Salazar, out number 2. And now, due up is Corey Snyder in a clutch situation. Runner at second, 2 down. In the clutch against lefties, he loses a hit on 3-12. Everything else, he is neutral. 1-7, he's going to strike him out. Strikeout number 4 for Jackson. So a total of 13 strikeouts in 4 innings. 9 of them belong, of course, to Swindell. But even the 4 in 4 innings is pretty high. So we go to the 5th. Top of the order for the Royals. Swindell. Benitez has walked and struck out. 3-3, and that is a hit by pitch. So he gets plunked to start the inning. Not too happy about it is Benitez, but shakes it off. I don't believe it was intentional. Salazar has struck out twice, so I don't usually like to bunt that much, but he's an A bunter and he struck out twice. So to me, the play is to hello, Captain. The play to me is to bunt. That's a 2. Could be a possible balk or pass ball before the bunt occurs. It's a possible pass ball on Dempsey. His pass ball rating is a 3. No pass ball, so we'll go straight to the bunt. The bunt will go back to the pitcher, Swindell. Get our bunt chart out. The 1 on the white die, 1 or 2 goes to the pitcher. He now is a B bunter with the corners in, so he basically needs a 9 or less to have a good bunt. Anything 10 or higher is questionable. That's a 5. That's a good sacrifice. So the sacrifice right back to Swindell. It's going to go 1-4. If you're scoring at home, you know you should be. And that'll move Benitez to second base. So at least a productive out from Salazar as opposed to striking out twice previously. And it sets it up for Seitzer and Tartable to get something done. That's a 6-7, and that's another walk. So Swindell, a little bit of loss of control, hit a batter and now has walked a batter. That is his 3rd walk of the game. Puts runners at first and second. It does set up a double play in a odd way, but they could get out of it with a double play. Tartable is 2 for 2, though, 2 singles. 5-7 is a ground ball shortstop X. Could be a double play, but boy, you're looking at Corey Snyder, 4E48. That's not good. You got to get about a 19 or a 20 on this thing to get a double play out of it. 17 might work, though. Let's check it out. 4 and a 17. 4 and a 17 is a G1 possible double play, but then you got the E48 to deal with at shortstop. So he's got to avoid 6, 12, 15, 3, 16, and 18. Not really worried too much about 3 and 18. It's the 6, 12, 15, and 16 that got to watch out for. Most notably 12. That's the one that seems to pop up a lot. But that's a 7, and so he gets by with it. It'll be a double play. Corey Snyder, 6-4-3 double play. So the walk actually sets up Swindell to turn the double play. No strikeouts this inning, but no runs either. And I think Swindell will make that trade every day of the week. 6-4-3 double play. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Still no score from, still 2-2 from Cleveland. No score since the 1st is what I meant to say. So Jackson out will face Bernazard, Dempsey, and Butler. Bottom of the 5th, tied at 2. But no offense since the 1st. Whoa, we got a hop and dice, so we got to re-roll everything. My rule is they have to all be in the tray. 6-10, switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a ground ball third base X. That's Pacoda. Oops, didn't put Pacoda's number in there either. Hold on. His error rating for Pacoda is an E37. So 4E37. All right, so 4E37. 4 and 1 is not going to matter. That's a base hit. We're checking the E37. And that's a 5. So it's a rare play on it, I believe, a S1. S1 rare play. Come over here. It was an S1 2 with a 2 behind it. Although no runners can get extra bases. Rare batter hits a single with base runners advancing 2 bases. As the batter rounds first, the fielder throws the ball behind him and catches him off the bag for an out. Now that's not realistic because nobody's on base. So I don't know if he would be rounding the bag so fast to do that. particularly since the ball was hit to left field. So I'm going to override that. We're not going to have that. That's just going to be a base hit, just because it just doesn't make any sense. So Bernazard is on first base. I will use common sense over Strat any day of the week. So Bernazard, to get the lead, needs a 4 through 6. An 11, he's automatically picked off. That's a 3. He does not get the lead. Hello, Jimmy Jam. Here is Dempsey. Oh, I already did that. Don't need that anymore. Dempsey up with Bernazard at first. That's a 2-6 against the left-hander, and that's a walk. So now Cleveland has something going. First and second, nobody out. That is walk number 2 issued by Danny Jackson. And that'll bring up Brett Butler. He is an A bunter, so he's going to be looking to lay one down. There is no balk or pass ball. It's a 3, so this time on the bunt, the 3 will be fielded by the catcher, Larry Owen. Again, he is a B bunter with the corners in, so same situation. He needs a 9 or less. 10, that's a pop-up. So bad bunt, it's a pop-up, and everybody holds. So he pops it up right to the catcher, Larry Owen, and that's a failed bunt chance. Very uncharacteristic for Butler to do that, but it happens. Here's Julio Franco, flown to center twice. That's a 2, so chance of a balk or a pass ball. We're looking at a balk chance, and again, Danny Jackson 0 on his balk. 2-3 to the lefty is a fly ball to right field. That's 2 away. Bernazard could be looking to get to third base on this with 2 outs. He runs at a 15. Tarbell's a 0 arms. That's a 1 to 15. You add 2 to it, makes it 1 to 17. So a safe range is 1 to 17. 18 to 19, he holds 20, he's out. And that's a 16. He will get to third base. So he goes to third, but now there are 2 outs. But he does advance to third base. So 2 down now for Joe Carter. Clutch situation for Mr. Carter. And in the clutch, he's not very good. 1-9 and 1-10 are outs. The hits that turn into outs. So he's got to avoid the 1-9 and the 1-10 for sure. Hello, D. Smith. Good to see you. 2-2 tie. Kansas City looking to hold on. Joe Carter looking to put the Tribe in the lead. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. That's a 5-3. It's a ground ball pitcher X. We're right back to Danny Jackson. He is a 3 E13. 3 to 15 will get to it, but the E13 is in question. Go to our pitcher result. Error for an E13. He's got to avoid 11, 13, and 17. Not so much worried about 17, but these 2 come up quite a bit, 11 and 13. And it's a 10. Boy, he just got lucky there and just missed it. So it's a good play for Danny Jackson to end the inning, because that error would have definitely caused another run to come in. But we're through 5 innings of play and still 2-2 here in Cleveland. Swindell back out. Starts the 6th inning facing Frank White, Bo Jackson, and Steve Balboni. White 0 for 2. 3-8 against the lefty is a ground ball to Jacoby, so now he's 0 for 3. 1 away. And in case you're not aware, I am scoring this in the computer as I'm playing it, so that's what the slight little couple second delay is between pitches, is for me to enter it in the Strat computer. All right, here's Bo Jackson. He's also 0 for 2. 1-4, and that's a walk. So Bo Jackson, that is walk number, I believe it's number, how many walks? Yeah, it's walk number 4. He hit a batter and it's walk 4 to go along with his 9 strikeouts. So Bo knows is definitely going to be looking to get the lead here. 6 or a 7 would do it. And a 5, he does not get it. So he will hold. And Balboni is your batter, designated hitter. Whoa, hop and dice again. Let's re-roll that. 2-11, and that's a ground ball third base B, so it's a fielder's choice. They force Jackson at second. Balboni reaches at first on a fielder's choice, but he is certainly no threat to run. Takes the stolen base threat out of the equation for Bill Pacoda. Swindell, 6'10". That's a ballpark blast, and Pacoda has normal power against lefties. Ballpark blast, it's 1-11, but that's a 20, so it's just a deep fly to left, and Pacoda just missed a 2-run homer. But this time the Devil Die came up with a 20 instead of something low, and so he walks away with a deep fly ball to left that Carter handles at the warning track. We go to the bottom of the sixth, still tied at 2. This is the fatigue inning, though, for Jackson. He does have a 6 here. So we will be monitoring fatigue. It'll be Tabler, Castillo, and Jacoby for the Tribe. That's a 5-8, and that is a fly ball to left field. And Beniquez puts that away smartly, 1 down. Send us to Carmen Castillo. He doubled in the first, had an RBI double in the first, and grounded out in the fourth. 6-8, and that's a single to center field, so he's 2 for 3. Castillo, no threat to steal. And it'll bring up a very dangerous Brooke Jacoby. By 4, and that's a fly ball center field X. We're looking at Bo Jackson. He's a 4. That's dangerous to have a 4 in center field, but that's what they've got because Willie Wilson's injured. 4 and a 16, though. Bo will get to it on a 4 and a 16. No problema there. 4 and a 16 is an F2, but nobody's on third base to tag up. Jackson is also an E14, so he's got to avoid 16, 12, 17, and 18. So 12, 16, 17, and 18. And he's got that no problem whatsoever. Jackson makes the catch, 2 down. And he'll flip it over to Corey Snyder. Castillo still at first, but not going anywhere. 2-9, and that is a ground ball to short. That's going to end the inning. So Danny Jackson keeps most of his endurance into the 7th. It's still 2-2 here in Cleveland. Top of the 7th, and this is the fatigue inning for Swindell. And we're also in the 7th inning where we're at the point where pinch hitting is going to be allowed now since we're in the 7th inning. Pinch hitting can be done freely. And with that in mind, I'll show the benches and bullpens for the Royals so you can see who they've got. Actually, I'm going to show the bullpen for the Tribe and the bench for the Royals because the Royals are batting. So mostly from the left side, but a couple of right-handers. You got Hal McRae and Buddy Biancalana from the right side for the Royals. And in the bullpen, in the left-hand side, you have Thad Bosley, Jamie Quirk, and George Orta. So what's going to happen here is they're going to pinch hit for Larry Owen with Hal McRae. And then they're going to bring in Jamie Quirk to catch. So that's what the Royals will do. Tribe in their bullpen. Like I said, Rich Yett is the last line of the fence because he went 2 2/3 last time, so I really want to hold him out. In the bullpen, 2 right-handers, Frank Wills and Ernie Camacho, 2 lefties, Steve Carlton and Ed Vandenberg, and in a pinch, Rich Yett, a right-hander. So Hal McRae will get the call to pinch hit for Larry Owen here in the 7th, and then Jamie Quirk will catch in the bottom of the 7th. So Hal McRae will make that change on the Strat computer. Get his numbers on the replay. He's hitting 250 in 24 at-bats. He had 32 at-bats. Real World hit 313. No homers and a run driven in. So let's see what McRae does here. And his home run did come against lefties because he got normal power here, weak power here. So he is facing a lefty where he did hit his only home run. 5-4, though, is a ground ball third base X. That's Jacoby. 4E25. 4 and a 16, he'll get to it. The E25 is in question. And that is an 8. Probably going to be okay with that. E25 and an 8 for a third baseman. Oh, no, he's not going to be okay with it. Right here, E25 and 8. Right there is a 1 base error on Brooke Jacoby. And that is the second error by the Indians in this ball game. Their fielding is letting them down and letting Greg Swindell down for sure. So McRae is aboard. They will, of course, not have McRae run. They will have somebody else run for McRae. And let's see, they don't really have anybody with any speed whatsoever. So you know what? They're just going to keep McRae on the base. They just have nobody on their bench with any speed whatsoever. So he will just stay there. Jamie Quirk will come in and catch in the bottom of the inning. So with nobody out and McRae at first base, we have Juan Beniquez. That's a 5-5, and that's another strikeout for Swindell. That is number 10. 10 strikeouts, Swindell. And that'll bring up Angel Salazar. He's 0 for 2. He struck out twice and had a sacrifice bunt. .412 to a righty, ground ball, shortstop X. This could be a double play, but again, Snyder's a 4, so not likely. 4-18 though, that's a G1, so he makes that play. But again, you have to survive once you survive the range, you got to survive the E48, which is right here, 6-12, 15, 3-16, and 18. And that is a 17, so I think he's okay with that. There's a 16, 15, 16, and 18, but no 17. So Corey Snyder, an 18 and a 4, is a G1, so it is a double play, 6-4-3, turned by the Tribe. And that is the second double play turn by the Cleveland Indians in this ball game. And that helps Swindell out immensely. Jamie Quirk will now come in and catch since they pinch hit for Owen. All right. Swindell keeps endurance for the 8th inning, so they will leave him in there. Coming up for the Tribe, it'll be Bernazard, Dempsey, and Butler. Could pinch hit for Dempsey, perhaps. So let's look at who the Tribe have on their bench to pinch hit. From the right side, they do have the big guy, Andre Thornton, although this is not one of his better years. 2 switch hitters, Chris Bando and Otis Nixon, and a couple lefties, Doug Frobel and Mel Hall. Like to say Mel Hall for a right-hander if they can. But it looks like Andre Thornton's going to pinch hit for Dempsey. And then Chris Bando will come in to catch, or they just have Chris. Actually, they're just going to have Chris Bando pinch hit, period. Save Thornton for later. So Chris Bando will come in and he will pinch hit and catch. He'll pinch hit in the 7th and catch in the 8th. But Bernazard is going to bat first, but that will be it for Rick Dempsey. That means Swindell will have to get used to a new catcher. But that's okay. They need offense. But right now, we are at the 7th inning stretch. And as tradition, we like to go to Take Me Out to the ball game so that I can take a stretch with everybody else. Check on Tabby or whatever. So enjoy Take Me Out to the ball game. All right, seventh inning stretch is in the books, and now that we're getting over to this part of the score sheet, I'm going to go ahead and move the cards over so they're easier to see. At least hopefully easier to see. All right, so bottom of the seventh, Tony Bernazard is your leadoff batter. And since the Royals are in the field, let's look at their bullpen, who they have available. From the right side, they have Dan Quisenberry, Steve Farr, Dave Gumpert, and from the left side, Jerry Don Gleaton and Bud Black. So those are the available pitchers for them. So we may be seeing, let's see, Saberhagen pitched a complete game last time, so and before that, Don Gleaton pitched. So Farr and Quisenberry have not pitched in the series yet. They're both very well rested. So it looks like Quisenberry is loosening in the pen just in case Danny Jackson runs into trouble. So Jackson facing Bernazard here in the bottom of the seventh. 4-2 to the right-hander. Fly ball right field X. Right fielder is Tartable. He's a 4E7. 4E7 for Tartable. 4-14. I think he'll get to that. Double check it. 4-14. Yes, he does. And then an E7. He's got to avoid 6, 15, 16, and 18 on this E7 area. And a 7 is good. So no problems there. Tartable makes the catch. One down. And that'll send up Chris Bando, the pinch hitter. So let's bring him on in the computer in place of Dempsey. Chris Bando. Bando on the replay is hitting 204, a homer and 8 driven in. He hit 218 real world. But that's still better than the 160 and change that Dempsey was hitting. That's a 1-6, and that's a pop out to short. Out number 2. 2 down, and we flip it over to Brett Butler. That's a 3-11, and that's a ground ball to first, and Seitzer will take it to the bag himself. And how about that? We go to the 8th inning, and it's still 2-2. All runs come in the first inning. Swindell will stay out there to face Seitzer, Tartable, and White. Might be all for Jackson. We'll have to wait and see because the Tribe have the right-handers coming up that gave Jackson trouble, and they do have Quisenberry ready. So we might be seeing Quisenberry come in the bottom of the 8th. We shall see. Right now, it's Kevin Seitzer to lead it off. Seitzer, Tartable, and White, 3 right-handers against Swindell. That's a 5-10. Right-handed, that's a fly ball center field X. That's Butler. He's a 2E5. 2-17, he'll get to that easily. E5 center fielder, 4, 16, and 17. That's what he's got to avoid, and he does. So it's good play for Brett Butler. Bando is, of course, the new catcher for the Tribe. 1 down, and Danny Tartable, the batter. He is 2 for 3. 2 singles, but did hit into a double play his last time. And the way Cleveland's bullpen has not been that great, they're going to stick with Swindell as long as they can. 4-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Bernazard, 4E22. All those X checks are going to catch up to Cleveland because look at all those 4s they have there. It's not very good. 4-7. This one might get him right here. It's probably going to get through for a base hit. 4-7. It is not, actually. 4-7 is a G3. He barely got to it. E22, 12, 17, and 18 is what he's got to avoid. 12, 17, and 18. And he does. So it's good play for Bernazard. Barely getting to it. But it's all that matters is that he did. 2 down, and that brings up Frank White. So Swindell looking to at least go 8 innings here. It's a 110 to White, and that's a single to center. 2-out single for Frank White. Just the 4th hit for Kansas City in this game. Cleveland has 6, and Kansas City has 4. 2 of them belong to Tartable. This one they just got, and then the home run from Seitzer. That's the only hits they've gotten. Here's Bo Nose in a big situation. Chance for Bo to make something happen here against Greg Swindell. Oh, I said I wasn't going to put these cards over here, didn't I? Didn't mean to do that. Let me put these back over here where you can actually see them. Forgot you couldn't see those when they're on this far side. So here's Bo Nose. 4-5, and that's a walk. So Bo will walk, and that will keep the inning going. And now the Cleveland bullpen starting to stir in earnest. Swindell on the verge of being tired, but not quite there yet. He's got to deal with Balboni, and Balboni's struck him out twice and got him on a fielder's choice. So they like it. They like their chances here against Balboni. This is a clutch situation. That's a 1. Wild pitch rating on Swindell's a 0, though, so no wild pitch. In the clutch, Balboni against the lefty loses a hit on 3-11. He's the same every inning. I'm not sure what you're asking there, Ernest. I wasn't watching the chat, so I'm sorry about that. All right, here is Balboni. That's a 3-8 against the lefties. He's going to walk, and that's going to load the bases, and I believe that is now making Swindell tired. See if the computer confirms that. Yes, it does. So Swindell is now tired, and you got Bill Pacoda, a right-hander, coming up. So we could see the end of Greg Swindell right here. I think we will. All those strikeouts got to him with all that's just put up his pitch count big time. And we will see Ernie Macho Camacho come in to try to get out of this bases loaded jam with 2 outs in the 8th. Ernie Camacho. Camacho, a +6 hold, but I don't think at this point of the game it really matters with the bases loaded. They're not going to steal. But we will have a pitching change. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I totally blew that one and lost that one. I apologize, Ernest. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't in pun mode for whatever reason. All right, so we're going to the bullpen for Ernie Macho Camacho. On the season for Camacho on the replay, he is 1-0 with 4 saves, a 3.72 earned run average. Of course, he had a 9.22 real world, so he's doing much, much better. 10 innings pitched, 10 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He is facing Pacoda with the bases loaded and 2 outs. The question is, do the Royals pinch hit for Pacoda? Pacoda is 0 for 2, is playing third base. If they pinch hit for him, I guess you can move put Biancalana at short. They could use Thad Bosley to pinch hit and put yeah, the Royals are going for it. They're going to put Thad Bosley into pinch hit for Pacoda. So we are having a substitution right here. Thad Bosley will pinch hit for Pacoda here in the 8th inning, now that a right-hander is in the ball game. So Pacoda is out, Bosley is in. And if we look at who can play third base, actually Benitez will move to third and Bosley will go to left field. That's the way they're going to work it, because Benitez is rated for third base. So they're going to put Benitez to third and leave Bosley in the game in left field. So that's what they will do to remedy that situation. And so Biancalana will stay on the bench. So Bosley, let's bring him in on the computer. Big time situation with the bases loaded. It leaves George Orta and Buddy Biancalana as the 2 bench players remaining. Bosley on the replay hitting .233, 2 homers, 4 driven in. And he's facing Camacho with the bases loaded and 2 outs. So Swindell goes 7 2/3, and we'll do the rest at the end of the inning. So Camacho to Bosley, bases loaded, 2 outs. Bosley in the clutch against right-handers will lose a couple of hits here, 1-5 and 1-9. Also loses a hit on 3-7. That is a 6-6 against the lefty. That's a double to center field for Thad Bosley. A clutch 2-run double, maybe a bases loaded 3-run double. We shall see who the trail runner was. The trail runner is Balboni, though. He doesn't run very well. All right, Ernest, you have a good day. So a pinch hit double for Bosley. Don't know that they would want to risk anything with Balboni. There are 2 outs. He was not being held, makes him an 11. 2 outs makes him a 13. Doubles assumed to go to center as Butler. They're going to go ahead and send him 1-13. Why not? And he got thrown out. That's why you don't send him. But, hey, they were playing with house money in their opinion. So it's going to go 8. They're going to rule it 8-4-2 on the relay. And Balboni's going to be out trying to score 8-4-2, but not before 2 runs come in for Kansas City. And they now take a 4-2 lead in the ball game. Unfortunately, Swindell, both those runs were charged to him, so he gives up 4 runs, all earned, and he's on the hook for the loss now. Quisenberry will be coming in for the Royals here in the 8th. But we need some defensive maneuvering. Beniquez will move to third base. And Bosley will stay in the game to play left field in the 8th inning. So Bosley will stay in the game in Pacoda's spot. Beniquez will shift from left field to third base. And coming in to pitch, the sidewinder, Dan Quisenberry. Let's get the numbers on Quisenberry after we do the. First of all, I got to move Beniquez to third on the computer, Bosley to left, and we bring in Quisenberry from the bullpen. Quisenberry on the replay is 2-1 with 2 saves, a 2.25 earned run average, 12 innings pitched, 14 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. We'll get the final tally on both Jackson and on Swindell from the Strat-O-Matic box score. So for Swindell, he goes 7 2/3, gives up 4 hits, 4 runs, they were earned, walks 6, strikes out 10. Danny Jackson, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, they were earned, walks 2, strikes out 4. Jackson looking to go 3-1. Swindell looking to drop 3-3, depending on everything that happens. Quisenberry will be facing Franco, Carter, and Tabler. Some tough right-handed hitters, which is why they brought him in. 4-2 Kansas City, bottom of the 8th. Cleveland with the work cut out for him. Julio Franco is 0 for 3 as a designated hitter in this game. He's flown out 3 times. But that was against Jackson. What can he do against the Quiz? 4-7. It's a 1-17 single, so he does get a leadoff single off of Quisenberry. And that'll send up Joe Carter. Now, Quisenberry has a 0 hold. The catcher quirk is a +1, so it is a +1 differential. So if Franco gets the lead, it'd be a 1-16 to steal second base. So he's going to try for the lead, 2 through 5. He does not get the lead, so it's a moot point. And here's Joe Carter. Carter is 1 for 3, a single and fly out to left and a ground ball back to the pitcher. Quisenberry to Carter. 4-2. It's ground ball pitcher B. It's a fielder's choice. It's going to go 1-4. And Carter is your new runner at first base with 1 out. Couldn't turn the double play. Carter a little bit too quick for that. And Carter now can get the lead on a 2 through 5 himself. See if he can steal a base and get in scoring position. And he does get the lead with a 5. So he's a 19. Then Hell's a 17. Plus 1 there is an 18. So 1 to 18, he'll steal it. Quirk's T rating is only a 3, so they'll risk it. And he barely gets in there, but he does. Stolen base for Joe Carter. That will take the double play out of the equation and put a runner in scoring position with 1 out for Pat Tabler. He has tripled, walked, and flown to left. Carter not being held at second base. Quisenberry to Tabler. 4-12, and that's a ground ball. Pitcher B right back to Quisenberry again. Carter this time will have to hold. He will stay at second base, 2 down. And Carmen Castillo is your scheduled hitter, but he will not hit. They will bring up Mel Hall, left-hander. Try to get lightning in a bottle from the left-handed hitting Mel Hall. So Mel Hall will be the pinch hitter for Castillo. Castillo was, actually he's 2 for 3, but those were against lefties. He really tears up lefties, maybe not so much against righties. Mel Hall, a better hitter. And with a runner on, they want to go that way. So Hall will stay in the game to play left field, and they'll move Carter to right field in place of Castillo. So Hall will pinch hit here in the 8th and play left field in the 9th. Mel Hall, let's see what Hall did on the has done on the replay. Mel Hall. Hall in the replay is hitting .318, 4 homers, 14 driven in. Facing Quisenberry. 111, and oh boy, just missed a ballpark. That would have tied the game right there. A 110 would have tied this game on a ballpark blast. But a 111 is a fly to center. He just got up under it. Boy, that really, talk about barely missing out. He did. And actually, Hall will not be going into left field. Carter will stay in left field, and they will bring in actually, no, Carter will go to right field. Not bad. They will bring in Otis Nixon to play left field. Much better defender. So scratch this part out. Nixon is in the game to play left field in the 9th. He is a much better defender in left field. So Otis Nixon is a 2-11 in left field. So we go to the 9th. That's going to be it for Quisenberry. He goes 1 inning. And he's going to give up a hit. Nothing else. And Steve Farr loosening the Royal bullpen to try to close it out. Let's look at Camacho. They're facing Quirk, a lefty, then Beniquez and Salazar. So they're going to go to Ed Vandenberg for the Tribe. Vandenberg will come on, the lefty. Camacho is going to go a third of an inning. Faced one batter, gave the hit, but the out on the base pass got him out of trouble. So Ed Vandenberg will be coming on. Now we need to make these changes on the computer. So Carter will move from left field to right field. And this Nixon will come into the game to play left field. And Hall does not stay in the game after all. And Ed Vandenberg comes in to pitch, and the numbers on Vandenberg on the replay is 2-1 with a save, an 8.74 earned run average. 11 innings pitched, 19 hits, 7 walks, 6 strikeouts. And he'll be facing Quirk. He'll be facing Quirk in the number 9 position, then Beniquez and Salazar after Quirk. So Quirk is the first one up to face Vandenberg, lefty-lefty. 4-9, and that's a single off of Vandenberg by Jamie Quirk. Kansas City trying to add to that 2-0 lead. Beniquez is your batter. Quirk not being held. Slow runner, not trying anything. Beniquez, 2-9, and that's a double to center field. That'll put runners at second and third. Quirk not going with the slow running. He's not going to go anywhere with nobody out. They put second and third, and all of a sudden now, Royals looking to do some damage. Infield's going to have to come in for the Tribe. Salazar, your batter, with the infield in. 4-9, and that's an in-home run chance. Ballpark blast. 1-11. That's a 9, and Salazar has normal power against lefties. That is a 3-run bomb for Angel Salazar. What the heck is going on for Salazar on this replay? That's his second home run of the season, which is exactly what he had in real world, but he's got it in 75 at-bats, and it took him 317 in the real world to get it. But Angel Salazar, a 3-run home run, and now Quisenberry might just stay in the game because there's no longer a save situation. They might as well go ahead and use him up and save Farr for later. Vandenberg having his issues now, as the score now is 7-2. Seitzer 5-11, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-11. That's a 14 though, so it will be a line out to short. One away. And that'll send up Tartable. 6-6, and that's a strikeout. Out number 2. And that'll send up Frank White. 6-12, and that's a ground ball first base C. First baseman Tabler fields it, throws to Vandenberg covering, but the damage done. 3-run home run off the bat of Angel Salazar, of all people. And we go to the bottom of the 9th. Quisenberry will stay out there, as a matter of fact. So we're not going to close the book on Quisenberry. He will stay out there because it's no longer a save situation for anybody else. It is a save situation for Quisenberry. So Quisenberry will stay in the game. Vandenberg is going to go 1 inning, give up 3 hits and 3 runs. No walks and a strikeout. And Quisenberry will be facing Jacoby, Snyder, and Bernazard, the scheduled hitters. 7-2 now, Kansas City pouring it on here against the Cleveland bullpen. Okay, I think we're back now. I believe we are back in business. I don't know what the last thing people saw was, but the last thing I did was a Corey Snyder at bat where he grounded to shortstop X, and Salazar on a G3 throws him out, but the runner goes to third base. So hopefully that you guys were able to see that, because now we're at Tony Bernazard's at bat. Tony Bernazard with Jacoby at third and 1 out. It'll be Bernazard's at bat. Infield, of course, with a 7-2 game, they are back. That's a 4-9. Switch hitter bang left. That's a single, 2 stars. That'll be an RBI single for Tony Bernazard. And that cuts the lead to 7-3. And now Chris Bando is your batter. Tell you what, it still looks kind of like it's not smooth, that's for sure. So my internet looks like it's still kind of iffy. Maybe the heat's getting to that too. I don't know. We're just going to try to finish this game as best I can since we're in the 9th inning. Here's Bando. If it's choppy, I apologize. Quisenberry, chance for a wild pitch. And I've got to go to the Strat computer to get his numbers for his wild pitch rating because they are not on the cards in 1987. And I'm not going to write on my cards. So if we look at Quisenberry and his numbers, check his card and see if he's got a wild pitch rating. He does not. He does have a rating of 0, so there is no wild pitch. Here's Bando, 2-5, and that's a single to right field for Bando. Runners at first and second. No, only one out. One is in. Now Steve Farr is back to loosening in the bullpen just in case Quisenberry fatigues. Butler, their batter. It's a 3-11, and that's a line out to first base. Boy, just lined it hard, but right to Seitzer for out number 2. And now Quisenberry 1 out away with Julio Franco, the batter. Runners at first and second, 1 in, 7-3. Tying run is on deck, so technically it is a save situation for Steve Farr. So we're going to go ahead and pull Quisenberry and bring in Steve Farr for the cheap save. They give us a cheap save rule. We're going to use the cheap save rule. I like abusing the system sometimes just to show how silly it is that you get a save in this situation because it's ridiculous. But Farr is going to come in and get that ridiculous save. I believe Quisenberry is on the verge of fatigue anyway. He's going to face Julio Franco, the designated hitter. But since the tying run is on deck, he qualifies for a save. What the guy on deck has to do with the price of tea in China is beyond me, but that's the pitiful rule that baseball has always used. All right, so Julio Franco is going to step to the plate. Steve Farr, let's get the numbers off of Farr to get his replay statistics for you. Steve Farr, this will be his 14th game, which leads the team in appearances. He's gone 14 innings, 14 hits, 13 walks, 15 strikeouts. He is 2-1 with 2 saves and a 6.43 earned run average. Just has to get Franco out, and he will get the save. 5-9, and that's a strikeout to earn that save. Boy, what a cheap save that was. Faced one batter and struck him out and got a cheap save. Quisenberry goes an inning and 2/3. Fix his numbers because I prematurely put these in thinking he wasn't going to pitch the 9th, and he did anyway. So let's see what we got here for Quisenberry. He didn't walk anybody. Quisenberry gives up a run. In an inning and 2/3, he gives up a run. And let's see, he gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. And that's going to do it. 7-3 is your final. 2 errors by Cleveland were fairly costly. Look at the hits. Kansas City only got 8 hits to go with their 7 runs, but they had a whole bunch of walks. 6 walks were issued by Cleveland pitching. So that didn't help the cause. Plus the 2 errors. 3 runs, 10 hits, and 2 errors for Cleveland. Winning pitcher was Danny Jackson. He's now 3-1. Losing pitcher Greg Swindell drops to 3-3. And the save goes to Steve Farr, his 3rd save of the season. That's true, Captain. I don't like that rule either, but that's just the way it is. That's a ridiculous rule as well. What are you saving? You're not saving anything, except maybe the bullpen. But the save is the most useless stat in one of the most useless stats in baseball. To me is the save stat. But I digress. So apologize for the little hiccup there, but game 201 is now in the books. Kansas City takes the series 2-1 as they put 2 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th to defeat Cleveland by the score of 7-3. Kansas City now 14-13 on the replay. And as we look at the stats now in the standings, I should say, Kansas City is now 3.5 games back of Oakland. They are in sole possession of second place, a half game ahead of the White Sox, who are at 13-13. But the White Sox played the next game in this replay against Baltimore, and they could tie Kansas City back for second place with a win. But that's going to do it from here. If I do anything tonight, it will be the next game in the replay in Strat-O-Matic. It will not be inside pitch. It will most likely be Strat-O-Matic, and it will be Baltimore and Chicago. Rich Dotson against Eric Bell. It'll be game 202 of the replay. And Chicago enters this game 13-13. And the Orioles check in 13-16. So that'll be tonight. If I do anything tonight, it'll be this, most likely. So anyway, apologize for I don't know why the internet went out in the middle of the afternoon. Usually I have trouble with that on weekend nights, but not during the weekdays. But like I said, maybe it's the heat. Who knows? Hard to say. But anyway, that's going to do it from here. Hope you all enjoyed the Strat-O-Matic in the afternoon. Lunchtime Strat-O-Matic here on Tuesday afternoon. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.